a lot of draft experts, draft pundits, NFL analysts alike have been knocking the Seattle Seahawks for having such a small draft class. And while there isn't too much of a talent infusion from a young talent perspective in regards to the Seattle Seahawks as opposed to 31 other teams in the NFL, well, I beg to differ. Josiah, roll the clip.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the.
My name's Calvin-Domingo, aka SteezyBandz, and if you haven't already, or if you're new to this channel, what are you waiting for, man? Join the family, join the team, hit that subscribe button for a couple of young brothers, show some love, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave us a like, drop a comment down below, as each and every single one helps and goes a long way. And also, don't forget to follow us on all forms of social media, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff, at SteezyBandz to keep up to date with our latest content. You're tuning to SteezyBandz, and let's get to cooking. A lot of people have forgotten, but Darrell Taylor, who participated or who has been participating in Seahawks rookie minicamp, was a second-round pick last year, 48th overall, and the Seattle Seahawks were so enamored with him that they thought about taking him in the first round. Eventually, they ended up taking Jordan Brooks in the first round and traded up in the second round to 48th overall to draft Darrell Taylor out of Tennessee. And while he's had his battles with leg injury, he had a rod inserted into his leg. He seems to be fully healthy by now, and the Seahawks have very, very high hopes for Darrell Taylor. Hence the fact that KGRG still hasn't been signed. And yes, my brother Squabo says actually made a very valid point a couple of weeks ago on the NorbCam Roundtable when he said that the longer that KGRG goes unsigned, the more likely that it is for the Seahawks to bring him back. Well, I almost beg to defer at this stage or at this point in time, simply because of the fact that the Seahawks have been experimenting with Darrell Taylor, not just at the Leo position. And for those of you who aren't familiar, the Leo position in Seattle's defensive scheme essentially is the main pass rusher in the scheme. They have to be versatile. They have to be able to drop back in covers. They have to be good enough to beat one-on-ones and to be fluid enough in space, aka the Bruce Irvin role from a couple of years ago, and Darrell Taylor fits that role perfectly. Not only is he going to be used as a pass rusher in obvious passing situations, but he's also athletic enough to play linebacker, and like I said, fluid enough to play in space, to be able to cover tight ends and running backs in the flats, as well as be able to hold his own in one-on-one coverage. Now, if he shows enough in camp, then maybe there really isn't a need for KGRG, seeing as how Seattle might be having the most loaded pass rush that they've had since 2013. And yeah, I get it. A lot of y'all might be looking at me as a homer just because of the fact that in the title, it says that the Seahawks could have the best pass rush in all the NFL. But look, man, I'm not playing. I'm not putting any words into anybody's mouth. I'm not playing a homer here. Let's not forget the Seattle Seahawks finished 7th in the NFL last season with 46 sacks. And that was without having their best pass rusher in Jamal Adams for 4 games, who broke the defensive back record for most sacks in the season with 9.5. Not only that, well, there were a multitude of other guys on the roster that contributed sack-wise. Carlos Dunlap, who played in only 8 regular season games, had 5 sacks, 2 of them which were game winners. Alton Robinson, who was a rookie rotational player last year, had 4 in a rotational role. Benson Mayowa, another rotational guy, had 6. And while he's gone, Jaren Reed had 6.5. Poona Ford with 2. Bobby Wagner with 3. The list goes on. LJ Collier with 3, Rasheem Green with 2. There's a whole bunch of depth. There's a plethora of depth on the Seahawks roster, not even mentioning Alden Smith. And while he does have a case going on right now, I don't see him not being on the team. I mean, I hope that this situation is resolved. I hope that it is settled. But as of right now, Alden Smith still remains on the roster. And so I do have high hopes for that man. And now you bring in a Darrell Taylor, who can not only play strong side linebacker, he can also play or be that main pass rusher in the Seattle Seahawks scheme. Now, just like with all other rookies and with all other young players, Darrell Taylor is not without his faults. And to be quite honest, he has a lot more of those, a lot of faults than he does actual skills or talent level. And I'm not trying to knock the player at all. He has 5-star traits. He's very physical, he's strong, he's super athletic, and he's physically well built. He's chiseled, really. He's literally made to look like an action figure. But that goes to show that just because you have all the physical tools necessary to dominate at the next level, that also means that your skill level has to add up. And while he might be a 5-star athlete, skill-wise, he might be more of a 3 or 4-star skill level type of player, and he has a lot to work on, like I said. And some of those things include having to create a go-to pass rusher move. Far too often and against top flight competition, he didn't have a go-to move. And he also struggles with having counter moves. And his initial move didn't work, well, he had a hard time coming up with the counter. Not only that, when it comes to double teams, he gets beaten way too easily. I know there aren't too many guys in the NFL that could really burst or explode off of double teams, but there's one thing, or there's one way that he could fix that, or at least there's one way he could fix that, and he could start by widening his base when it comes to being double teamed. Not only that, he needs to use his hands and feet in conjunction when battling a blocker off the edge, and he's just not technically refined or polished as a pass rusher. He relies a little bit more on his tools, on his athleticism to beat guys off the edge. Now, on the bright side, he can't hold his own defending the run. He can't hold his own in coverage, especially against tight ends and running backs in the flats. Around the edge, he shows a phenomenal ability to get down and to use his speed and bend around the edge to get the sack. Now, like I said, he can't win on the outside, and he displays a great amount of speed and bend to get around the edge. And so while he is lacking a little bit in the skill department, well, he does have some of the tools and a lot of potential to really develop as a pass rusher at the next level. And like I said earlier, look, a lot of pieces are coming back, are returning to that Seattle Seahawks defense. I don't need to go into all the names, but assuming Jamal Adams stays healthy, well, I'm expecting at least 10 sacks, if not more. Benson Mayowa, he has another year in Seattle. Alton Robinson should only stand to get better. Kerry Hyder Jr., 8.5 sacks last year in San Francisco. Let's not forget about that. Carlos Dunlap, a full offseason in Seattle. I'm expecting at least 10 sacks. And now with Darrell Taylor, technically this is his first year in Seattle, so I'm looking at him as a rookie. And so going back to what I said earlier in the intro, yes, while there might only be 3 rookies and a whole bunch of other undrafted free agents, I'm looking at Darrell Taylor as a potential rookie. And if the Seahawks don't end up re-signing KGRG, then we can expect to see a whole lot of Darrell Taylor at the strong side spot. But seeing as how the Seahawks were able to compile 46 sacks last year, good for, once again, 7th in the NFL without a Darrell Taylor, well, who knows what he could provide at the next level. Let's not forget, he played in the SEC, so he was going up against top flight competition, top flight offensive lines, and top flight tackle prospects at the college level. And so with a little bit of coaching in Seattle, with a little bit of experience, with a little bit of game action, well, I don't see why he can't become a great player at the next level. So yes, while he might be more of a long-term project, let's not forget he did have 16.5 sacks in his last 2 seasons at Tennessee in the vaunted SEC conference against some of the top flight competition that you'll see in all of college football. Not only that, with proper coaching and development in that Seattle system, well, the sky is truly the limit for Darrell Taylor. Hence why I see the Seattle Seahawks finishing with more than 46 sacks next season. And no knock on Bruce Irvin, but I see him as having a higher ceiling than Bruce Irvin, seeing as how he's just a little bit more athletic, and at this stage in their careers, he's a little more polished. And so with all those things being said, let me know what you guys think about Darrell Taylor in the comments below. Are you excited about what he's going to bring to the table this year? What do you think is his stat projections for next year? Let me know down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Don't forget to show us some love, man. Leave us a like. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. Hope you guys enjoyed. Nothing but love, and Steezy out. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. By the end of this video, we'll have a whole bunch of other videos on the screen for you guys to watch. A whole bunch of other content on our channel platform, or a whole bunch of other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.